Welcome into the Danny Servance Show here on I-14 Sports. So glad you're joining us to find out what's going to be happening tonight at Leo Buckley Stadium. The Ellison Eagles taking on the Hendrickson Hawks. It was always fun to say that on the radio back in the day. Hendrickson Hawks. But let's go back to last week first for Harker Heights Knights. Crosstown battle, of course. Harker Heights, a 6A squad, and went 4 games deep in the playoffs last year. Still got a really good quarterback. They looked pretty good the other night. You had some good plays here and there and some bad plays here and there. And, kind of talk about it just a little bit, Danny, will you?
Well, I'll tell you what. First, we got to give credit to Harker Heights. They did a terrific job in the ball game of executing offensively and giving us fits on the defensive side of the ball. I thought they were better defensively this year than they were a year ago. And but we did see some bright spots out of our kids. Tavion Johnson had 5 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown in the ball game, and we knew he was going to be a weapon for us this year, and he didn't disappoint. And so we were really proud of that. Thought both quarterbacks did a good job in the ball game of spreading the ball around and making some accurate throws. Trey Lockhart Jones did a great job running the football, along with Darryl Caney. I think they both had 50 yards, and so we had 100 yards, so rushing. And you always want to have a 100-yard rusher in the ball game. And so they did a good job there too. And our offensive line, we wanted to see improvement this year, and we were able to put together 75-yard drive with mostly runs. Mm-hmm. And so they did a great job knocking people off the ball and opening holes for our running back. So a lot of good things, even though the score didn't really depict, the improvement.
Yeah, there was a lot of big plays they had that scored some touchdowns.
There was.
Up the score.
There was. Yeah. Like I said, I thought our youth showed a little bit in the secondary. Yeah. We graduated 9 guys there on defense, and so they're having to grow up in a hurry. But, I think they will, and they saw 6A football for the first time on Friday night. Most of those guys had not been in a varsity football game. And so the experience that they gained through that ball game is going to pay off for us later on in the long run.
Almost in a hostile environment because Heights had the place packed out on their side, of course, with a lot of noise over there. You had a great crowd, though, man. I was just amazed on how many people with time change, location change, and all that still came out and supported. I think there was at least 40 buses there.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was really, really happy with the crowd that we had. Of course, Heights, did, sell out their side, and it was packed. But like you said, we had great support from our fans, and I want to encourage them to continue to do that and support our kids. Our kids do notice that, and they do really, really enjoy having them come out and watch them play.
Yeah, you talked about the defense and how the guys you lost. I was just talking to you about it on the wall over here behind us. I'm looking down through there, and I'm seeing defensive player playing at the next level. And that
Absolutely.
Is what you want to do. So the other guys, they've got to look up to these guys and say, hey, we have to play up to the tradition and the standard of Ellison football.
And we talked about that the other day, and just kind of told them that, hey, look, there is a standard, of excellent defense that's kind of been attached to Ellison High School, and we expect for you guys to do that and to continue that tradition, the accountability of playing great defense. And I think they're up to the challenge. They understand what it means to represent the guys that have come before them and all the great players, and to go out and play with pride. So we expect for them to look a lot better here this week.
Hendrickson Hawks. You've got one look at them on Huddle.
Uh,
Probably that's about it. Maybe a little bit of scrimmage video. What do they look like?
Well, They've got a tremendous running back. Man, I mean, Carson Workman is the real deal. Number 24, he's a man. Does a great job running the football for them. And, I mean, I just don't know how to get him on the ground. He's a big dude, runs strong, and we're going to have to play team defense. We're going to get 4 or 5 guys to the football and try to get him on the ground. But he's impressive. But, of course, if you've got a good running game, then you've got a great offensive line. And those guys on their offensive line do a great job of blocking and opening holes for him. But then they can throw the ball also. And so we're just going to have to play a great all-around defensive ball game. Try to really set the tempo on offense and control the clock and try to keep their offense off the field as much as possible.
So when did you start looking at that huddle video? Saturday morning first thing, or did you go back and review the game first, or did you just throw that away and go to the second game?
Well, no, after the game, I'm always up, so I've got to kind of wind down, and so I'm watching us and seeing what we need to correct. And so I'll get to sleep the wee hours of the morning and then be right back up here in a couple of hours to start working on the next week's opponent.
And how do they differ from last week? I mean, Heights likes to throw the ball. We saw a lot of that the other night. So are we going to see it pretty evenly, or are they going to run with this kid?
Well, I think they spread you out to run the ball. And so, I think they probably are 60-40 running the football. But they're capable of throwing it. And, most coaches that are good coaches take what you give them. And so, they may have run the ball last week. They may have watched our film and said, hey, let's throw the ball. And so, like I said, we've got to get better in a lot of different areas. And we've worked on that this week, and we expect for our kids to come out and play well.
That's what I was going to say. You kids working all week on the offense and defense after they get a look at it. That's another thing about that huddle. Those kids get access to go watch that on their own.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And we monitor how much you've watched film. That's awesome. The other thing. So we expect for our kids to watch film, study their opponent, look at their position, see how they can execute better, see if how they can execute their technique better. And so it's a great tool for coaches and also a great tool for the players.
And not so much of the old videotape. And of course, you still do that too, don't you?
You know what? That just brings back memories of splicing that film together when it break, and then trying to run it through the projector. That's right. Yeah, hey, y'all hold on one second. Let us tape this back together. And so technology is wonderful, and this huddle stuff is just kind of moved the game to another level.
And it gets the kids, the college is able to look at the kids a lot more than they used to. So we're seeing a lot more of these names, like I said, on the wall over here, 12 kids that are playing the next level from last year.
Right, that's exactly right. I mean, it's easy for them to start making their highlight videos from huddle and start putting it on Twitter, because that seems like that's where everybody does their recruitment, on Twitter. And so college coaches come in, that's what they're asking for. Do they have a Twitter? Do they have an Instagram? Because they're going back, looking at those things because they know that they can find all of their highlight videos on those social media outlets.
They're getting pretty good at it, too. I've seen a few of them.
They are getting pretty good at it, and recruiting has changed since I played.
Yeah. You have to be a word of mouth thing back in the day,
It really was. You had to be there to watch a kid play.
Yeah.
It wasn't that much quick access social media stuff back then like it is now. So, like I said, a coach had to actually come see you play. And where I played, you didn't make many trips out to West Texas unless there was real talent that you were coming to see, because you could get 5 or 6 of the same guys in Dallas, in Houston, San Antonio, other areas. Yeah. So social media has really helped in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. And the kids are keeping it good I think they've learned how to treat it, how to use it as a tool too. So
Absolutely.
that's a great thing. Well, we're looking for big things from the Eagles tonight to break out against the Hawks. Looking for a battle of the birds, huh?
Battle of the birds. I think Eagles are better than Hawks.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
smarter too.
There you go.
There you go. So, give me that locker room.
Hey, you know what? We're going to talk about taking care of ourselves, not doing anything to shoot ourselves in the foot, and being disciplined and executing at an all-time high, and playing with great effort and playing for each other, playing for your brothers. And, I think if our guys take care of that and make sure that we take care of the football and, try to create turnovers, that's another big thing that we did that in almost every game last year except for one. We created turnovers and scored.
Right.
We scored off of turnovers. And so that's the big deal. We're trying to create turnovers and flip the field for our offense. And if we do those things, we think we'll be in great shape.
All right. Good luck, Danny.
Go Eagles.
You're watching I-14 Sports Network.